Welcome to the Explainer. We're diving into a topic that's, well, it's tough, but so incredibly important: sexual harassment. And the best way to really get it is to look at some real world situations to see where those lines get drawn.
So let's get right into it. We're going to look at some scenarios that might hit a little closer to home than you'd expect. All right, first up, we're going to start with something that's pretty, well, obvious. This will give us a clear baseline before we jump into the muddier stuff. So here's the situation. We've got Suguna and her manager, Aravind. And Aravind, he's repeatedly asking her out, making these advances that are just not welcome. You can imagine how uncomfortable that is.
So before I give you the breakdown, just take a second. What's your gut feeling here? I mean, the power imbalance is jumping right off the page, isn't it? Yep, this is a slam dunk case of what's called quid pro quo harassment. It's Latin for this, for that, and that's exactly what's happening. Irvind is in a position of power, and he's basically saying, go out with me or else. He's tied her job performance directly to her saying yes. That's a textbook threat. Okay, so that was a direct threat, but harassment isn't always that in your face. Sometimes it's more like a poison that seeps into the entire work environment. All right, check out this next scenario. Nirav is really mad because his colleague, Neha, landed this big project that he was after. So what does he do? He starts spreading this nasty rumor that she only got it because she's sleeping with a boss. Now, think about this. Nirav isn't hitting on Neha. He's not asking her out. But is what he's doing still crossing a line? He's going after her reputation, right? Oh, 100%. This is the definition of creating a hostile work environment. Let's tick the boxes. Is the rumor unwelcome to Neha? You bet. Is it based on sex and gender stereotypes? Absolutely. And since he's telling everyone, it becomes pervasive, it's everywhere, and it's creating this awful, intimidating environment for her to work in. And this is a really great way to see how different paths can lead to the same toxic destination. So you've got Nirav's rumor mill on one side, but look at the other example. Suman keeps sending obscene pictures to Joe even though Joe has told him to stop. So one is gossip and social damage, the other is direct and invasive. But the end result? The same. A hostile workplace. Okay, we've seen the clear-cut stuff. Now let's wade into the gray areas. These are the situations where things get really complicated because of context and past history. So picture this. Reshma is new, and she goes out to dinner with her manager, Rashid, a couple of times. No big deal, right? It's all consensual and fine. But then one day, he asks again, and she says no. And that's the turning point, because Rashid just doesn't take no for an answer. He keeps calling, keeps emailing. See, this is where it gets tricky. Does the fact that they were friendly before change anything? Does her saying yes in the past mean he gets a free pass to ignore her no now? What do you think? And here's the absolute bottom line. Consent isn't a one-and-done deal. It can be given and it can be taken away. The second Rashma said no, the entire situation changed. His behavior became unwelcome, and that is the moment it becomes harassment. Their history doesn't matter. No means no. Okay, last one. Akash comes up behind his colleague Amrita, taps her on the shoulder, and says she looks hot. Amrita is not having it. She immediately tells him to back off, and to his credit, Akash apologizes, and it never ever happens again.
Okay, this one is really tough. What he did was wrong, it was inappropriate, totally unprofessional, and definitely unwelcome. No question about that. But does it meet the legal definition of sexual harassment?
So let's walk through this step by step. What he did was unacceptable, period. But from a legal perspective, it might not be considered harassment. And here's why. It was a single incident, and when Amrita pushed back, he stopped, he apologized, and it was over. For something to legally be a hostile work environment, it usually has to be severe or pervasive. Think of it like this. It's either one really, really bad event or a whole pattern of smaller things that add up. This was bad, for sure, but because it was isolated and corrected right away, it might not hit that specific legal bar. All right, so we've been through a lot. Let's boil all of this down to the key things you really need to remember. Think of these as your toolkit for understanding what's going on in any situation. And the biggest tool in that kit? Impact over intent. It doesn't matter if someone was just joking. What matters is how their actions landed. The key word through all of this is unwelcome. That, plus context and power dynamics, those are the giant red flags you need to watch for. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about avoiding a lawsuit, right? It's about a much bigger question. It's about what kind of place we all want to work in. Understanding these lines helps us build a culture that's not just legally compliant, but is genuinely built on respect for every single person.